Welcome to another concept on polynomial functions. Today is going to be our last aspect. As I said previously that when we meet today, we are going to look at the usefulness of polynomial functions in our daily lives. Okay, so today we are looking at real life applications of polynomial functions. As I said, that this is a very important concept that you don't have to joke with. As long as mathematics is concerned, polynomial is one of the important concepts that we use or is applicable in our daily activities. If you go to our various companies and especially big companies and also other firms, um, they use what polynomial functions to model other what things. All right, so today we are going to look at one of them. Okay, so since we started it, maybe some of you may be wondering this polynomial function, what at all does it do? What impact does it have on our lives? Yes, you hear sometimes people ask these questions. It's just that we use them, but we don't know that this, or we have been seeing them around us, but we will not be able to identify that this was modeled from what a polynomial functions. So today we are going to look at some of these things. Now in our previous lesson, we've already looked at factor theorem, remainder theorem. We also saw some examples on addition, multiplication, and division of polynomial functions. Okay, so today our main agenda is on the real life applications when it comes to what polynomial functions. Great. So we are going to use few minutes. We'll look at few examples how and where polynomials are applicable. Okay, yeah, so let's quickly look at what we have on our list. Okay, so yes, now in the first, we are saying that engineers use what polynomials. So when we talk of what polynomials, engineers use them, yes, to model the curves and slopes of what roller coaster. Yes, right. So I know you know what roller coaster is. Yes. So those of us who have been watching some of us who have been using this before, you realize that the curves, okay, people sit in a form of a train and then it just move upwards and come downwards. Okay, it rolls like that. So that's what we are talking about. Now if you look at the picture there, you realize that the curve what models polynomial functions. Okay, we can get quadratic function from it. We can also get what cubic function. Okay, yes, so that is what we are talking about. So you realize that the curves, okay, it depicts what polynomial curves, okay, quadratic curves or cubic what curves. That is what we are talking about. Okay, so one of the important things that you can get from polynomial functions that roller coaster, that engineers use what polynomial for that. Okay, now we have this as well. So all these are what roller coaster, and you can see the curves. All right, good. So that's what we are talking about. That's why I said every aspect of mathematics is very important. Okay, so if you know the usefulness of that, then you will not joke with it. Okay, great. So you can see the graph of a polynomial function. You see that looking at this graph, the roller coaster looks the same as what this. Okay, yes, so that's what we are talking about. That's great. So whenever you are asked to tell us how it is applicable, you should be able to tell us that, oh wow, that is what we are talking about. Okay, yes, that is great. So that's it. Okay, great. So let's look at the second one. We also see that civil engineers employ the use of polynomial functions to design curves and structures. of bridges and other buildings, which ensures the stability and functions. Okay, so you have before us, that is what Adomi Bridge. Um, we've seen constructors constructing what bridges, but we don't know that they apply the use of what polynomial function, especially those engineers that construct big what bridges, eh? Overhead bridges over what seas and big what roads. Okay, these engineers employ the use of what polynomial functions. Okay, so you can see the curve there. All right, you see that it models what um this curve. So what curve does it look? You realize that it looks like what a quadratic curve. Okay, this is a quadratic curve. You can see that for yourself. That's great. So you see how beautiful this concept is. That's why I said polynomial function is very what important. So when you are learning, you don't have to learn only how to calculate them, how to work equations. You should be able to understand the concept and know um, its usefulness. All right, that's great. Good. So let's look at other bridges. So you can see this beautiful picture here. Yes, this is a nice bridge, and all these things were used built or constructed using what polynomial function. So you can see the curve. This also models what quadratic curve, and then we have other bridges also here. Yes, you can see it, very beautiful. Okay, so you see the beauty of mathematics. Okay, so if someone tells you that there's no importance of mathematics, please tell the person that he or she doesn't know what he's talking about. Okay, mathematics is very important. Okay, so whenever you are learning the concepts, you need to take them serious. All right, so that's why I said everything we find around ourselves, you can look at it and model a mathematics concept from. Okay, unless maybe you are not aware of what you are doing. All right, good. So um these are some of the, let's look at this beautiful building here. You see, very nice. And this one was also built using what polynomial function. What polynomial function is that? Let's look at it. So we realize that you can have your x and y as if dividing it, and then we have this nice what curve, the same as what um quadratic what curve, okay, or parabolic what curve. So it is very nice. As I said, all these things model that. So that is what we have. You see the water flow, how they shape, how it looks like. All these models what a quadratic. So you can see that, very nice. All right, good. So that's what I told you, that for polynomial functions is very what applicable in our daily activities. If you go to the big companies, you realize that some of the things that they do there, uh, everything that they do there, they apply what mathematics there. All right, good. So you can see that these curves what models both the minimum and the maximum curve, as we've learned previously. Have you gotten that? Great. So I know that as we are learning this, whenever you are working outside, wherever you find yourself, you'll be able to model or identify a mathematic or concept. All right, so that is very nice. Okay, so let's look at the third one, and we are saying that polynomial also what equations are used by computer scientists in various aspects of robotics for complex calculations and controls system. So you see that those who what deal with robotics also apply what mathematics, and one important aspect in mathematics is what polynomial equations. They use these equations. So for when it comes to robotics, polynomial equations are very important. Yes, so that is what we are talking about. It's very nice. All right, yes. Yes, so anytime those scientists, okay, those computer scientists are to build what robots, they applied what the concept of polynomial function. So it's also applicable there. All right, now let's move on and see other ones. So we say what GPS system that use polynomial equations are applied to determine various locations. So all the GPS addresses that we have been generating, you go to various places, and then we generate what the address, the system will generate it for us. This all these things we need what polynomial what functions. Yeah, so you see why we see polynomial function is very what key, okay, as long as mathematics is concerned. So for GPS address, I know a lot of people have what their home address, their home GPS address. All these addresses that were generated, at least there were the use of what polynomial equations there. Okay, yeah, so you see the pictures there is very what great. Okay, now let's look at the last the other aspect. Okay, so we can also talk about what when you go to finances, economics, or businessmen. So we are saying financial analysis use what polynomial graphs to determine and predict trends in market to be able to make investment decisions. Yes, so businessmen or those who analyze financial what activities or financial issues, they use what polynomial graphs, and that also helps them to be able to know the future occurrences, whether they are aiming at making profit, or whenever if they invest, whether they are not going to lose their money, they are going to what win or get more profit. So these polynomial graphs helps them to what predict what is going to happen, or and help them to what to take decision as to whether to invest their money. So you see how important polynomial function is very what key. Okay, so you can see the picture there. You can also see this one as well. All these things what depicts or helps to predict, it helps businessmen, okay, with their businesses. Great. So that is also on the aspect of what finances. Okay, now let's move on to another one. Now the sixth one, which will be our last one, we also say polynomials are used in electrical engineering to model the behavior of electricity in circuits. It also helps what engineers to simulate how electricity flows and make what informed decisions to optimize circuits. Yes, so when it comes to what electrical circuits, also you realize that engineers also, especially electric engineers, also what use these polynomials to know how electricity flows. Okay, and it also helps them to take decisions on how to make circuits. Okay, yes, so you see this is very important when it comes to polynomial function. There are a lot of um, importance, there are a lot of advantages, and there are a lot of them that we can talk about, but today we are limiting ourselves onto only these six what points. Okay, I know that we can talk of many. If you want to talk, we can talk and talk and talk, because we have a lot of them. Okay, so that is what we said, that polynomial is one of the key aspects as mathematics is what concern. Okay, yeah, so if someone asks you, so this polynomial equations, this polynomial that and that, what impact does it have on our lives, you can tell the person some of these things. You can explain to the person the usefulness of this concept. All right, okay, so if that's the case, then let's draw the curtains. We shall end here and continue next time. My name is Evans. I'm your mathematics facilitator. This channel is Mazris TV. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share. You can also visit our TikTok. Mazris TV is there. See you next time. Bye bye.